Hi, I'm Dr. Kaye Sweetser from San Diego State University, and today I'd like to talk to you about how to create objectives for your public relations campaign. The first thing to think about when you are creating objectives is, of course, what are the objectives overall? What are the goals overall of my business or my organization? You should always tie your communication plan and your public relations objectives directly back to your business goals. When you are thinking about what it is that you need to do, you want to be able to make sure that you have in place a way to measure those objectives. So, for example, if you have an objective that asks for an increase of support, you need to be able to measure and quantify what support is and where you are now versus where you're going to be at the end of the campaign. Typically, the way you're going to measure that is through a baseline survey. And so if you're looking at things like attitude or support or knowledge or any number of different constructs like that, you'll have a pre-campaign survey that asks questions that gets at that to determine where you are today. Then you'll implement an entire campaign aimed at increasing support or awareness or knowledge. And then you'll go in and you'll do your post-campaign survey, and then you'll compare the two numbers to look for a change score. When you're wording your objectives, you want to start them with the word to. So you want to do something, say, to increase, to decrease, to create, whatever the case is. On your objectives, of course, any objective needs to have a direction in which something is going to change. It's going to go up or it's going to go down, increase, decrease. You want to have a number through which is going to be obtained. So increase by 5%, decrease by 20%, etc. And then you want to have a timeline that's associated with that. How long is it going to take? So increase support for our issue by 5% over the next 6 months. When you do this, you're actually using these things called SMART objectives, S-M-A-R-T, which you may have heard of before. With the SMART objectives, that stands for SMART. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. So pretty much if you follow the 3 items that I walked through before, you are, of course, encapsulating all of the things in the SMART objectives, being specific, measurable, obtainable, relevant, and timely. When you are writing your objectives, it's really helpful to be as specific as possible about what you want to do, what you're going to target with regard to that objective. It's helpful to include your publics that you're focusing on, as well as where it is you want to see them go. Always, when you create your objectives, understand where you are right now in your organization, and so have done a little bit of research to figure out where you are so that you can accurately come up with an idea of where you need to go. And then make sure that you have a way to measure your objectives before you ever even start your PR campaign. So you don't just want to say, oh, we're going to increase support, and then never take a baseline of what your support was in the beginning, do a campaign, and then have no idea how your support had changed when you get to the end. Or get to the end and say, oh gosh, how are we going to now measure that support? Because you can't go back in time to figure out what support was. Even though there is content analysis and there's a couple of different ways that you might be able to get indicators, they probably would not be the strongest indicators that you have available. So when you are going through the full 4-step RPI process, you really want to take the time at the beginning of the campaign to set out what your objectives are going to be, ensure that they are SMART objectives, and then make sure that you have that game plan for how you're going to measure them, both at the beginning and the end, in order to showcase the change that you have created with your public relations campaign. So that's just a little bit about objectives, and I hope you have a wonderful PR campaign.